Hey everybody, it's Chris, and tonight's video is going to be my in the bag for the 2020 season, or at least for the summer. Now, the in the bag is a little bit different this year. With COVID, I've been doing a lot of videos. I worked a lot on my sidearm. During my sidearm work, I actually hurt the back of my shoulder, one of the rear delts, I believe. And that injury actually affected my backhand as well, and I didn't realize it. I was very stubborn until I was playing a challenge, getting ready for some match play, and realized that all of my turnover discs weren't turning over. I was getting absolutely smoked because every time I tried to throw a flat shot, I was hyzering out. Every time I tried to throw a turnover, it was hyzering out. And I had to make the decision either to shut down, even though I was playing pain-free, or adjust the way I was throwing. So in this bag, you are going to see a reflection of that decision to adjust how I was throwing, except that I wasn't throwing as hard or as fast as I had been previously, and choose some discs that could serve the new style of throw better. So I've actually reworked my footwork, I have reworked my release angles, I have reworked my bag, and I added a sidearm in the process, which caused all of this change. So it's been an interesting year for me in disc golf, not just because of COVID, but also on all the bag changes. Well, let's get some of the discs in the bag. Old standbys, putting putters, classic judges. I've got a fresher one for inside the circle. That's my main putter. And then for outside the circle or understable putts, I've got this really beat-in one. This is one of the discs in my bag that comes from my brother David's bag. He picked them up in his pair up in 2013. They were pretty beat-in, so for me they work for long range pretty well. First throwing disc in the bag is going to be the Opto Bite. I've off and on thrown the Bite since 2013 when I found them at GBO. They weren't approved back then, so I didn't bag them for competition, but I've always played catch with them. I always had one for my dogs, and this year with the slowing down my arm because of the shoulder, I was looking for something that I could I didn't have to throw hard, that I could just use my wrist to pop out there, and this fits the bill. It's a lot like an ultimate lid flight-wise, actually a little more stable, but I could, even in a patent pending, if I can just flick my wrist, I know I can get a decent snap, a decent float out of it, and you're going to get to see that flight. It's become pretty much my go-to inside 150 feet, especially if it's tricky footing. I do still carry a couple throwing judges, and on shorter courses I'll probably carry another one as well. I've got this old Soft. I put it in the bag in 2015. It's seen a lot of wear and tear. Last year you would have seen me throwing it on big turnover shots. I refer to it as my Deputy or Swan Reborn type disc. And it's a little bit straighter this year, again, because the arm's a little bit slower. I can still adjust it or manipulate it to go on those ante lines, but I have to actually turn it more now. And then I have a fresher blend. It's just going to be a straighter thrower. I'll be able to put a little more power on it and have it hold a straight line, and hopefully fade at the end as well. My approach disc, slow, mid, super fast putter is the Suspect. This is another disc out of my brother's bag. He loved the Suspect, so when he passed, I grabbed his and decided I was going to throw him. I had never really cared for the Suspect previously, but I'm making him work, and I always loved throwing this because of whose it was. On to mids. No video of justice in this video. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll dig up one, put an apology or something, but I just don't throw it a lot, and if you have justices, you probably understand why. It does its job extremely well. Throw it backhand, it dumps. Throw it forehand, it dumps. Super reliable. When I need it, I pull it out, and I know what it's going to do, and that works. Now next is the disc that comes with the story. I said in that competitive match where I was just getting destroyed, it was match play. I think I lost like 6-5 or maybe 7-5. Got destroyed. One of the worst days of disc golf I've had since I started, probably. If you watched my video from last year, this is my turnover mitt. It's a Fuzion Truth. It was very flippy. I could put it on big sweeping anhysers that just drifted, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite discs to watch fly, even if I didn't throw it a ton, because I could hit those big turnover lines with it. This is the disc that I was trying to put in those big turnover lines, and it was fading out, and I was constantly out of position. I couldn't score, and it was really, really frustrating. And of course I'm stubborn, so that didn't help. But I decided, hey, I'm going to go grab a patrol, I'm going to throw it around a little bit and see how it works. And it was a great choice. So I added this to the bag, and almost instantly I was able to hit some of the lines that I just couldn't hit with my Fuzion Truth anymore. So I'm talking about like hyzer flips with low power to go to a straight line, maybe even hyzer out a little bit, or less hyzer flip with more power to get it to turn over, or just big turning annies. Yeah, this disc has allowed me to have an understable side in the mid-ranges again, and it really, along with a couple of the other modes in here, helped me rebuild confidence in throwing again. I do have 3 truths in the bag. That Fuzion is going to be my straight to slightly understable. If I really put power on it, it's going to just turn a little bit, not a ton. I can still manipulate it on the anhyzer, but it's definitely not as understable. It's not just going to be a throw it hard and have it turn disc anymore. More of a straight line thrower. I have probably the most thrown disc in my bag over the past calendar year, especially since my brother passed, is this first run truth out of his bag. It's hit a lot of trees. It's just seen a lot of work in the last year, so it's straighter than when I picked it up, but it's still super reliable. I can put a lot of power behind it and trust to hold that straight line, maybe turn out just a touch, and then fade at the end, or I can put a little bit of hyzer on it and I know it's going to ride that line the entire way. And the last one is a Lucid Glimmer-X truth. These are definitely more overstable than your regular truths. I'll link the video above. Considerably more overstable, a lot of fun. The red one, I believe, is the one that's going to show up in this video, but they are a very nice complement to the normal truths. On to Fairways, got a couple new ones in here. Now, traditionally, the Maverick slot, going back to the Leopard, is just a type of disc that I have not had success with. It didn't match how I wanted to throw, so I just really never could control it. I could talk about them, but I couldn't really throw them. And this injury, this new approach to throwing discs, a little bit more hyzer, slowing down my run-up, etc., has really helped me click with the Maverick and has helped me to appreciate this style of disc. So the River, the Sear, the Mall, obviously the Maverick, and I know I'm missing one, Underworld. That's a little bit slower fairway, very controllable, neutral to understable. The special edition one I'm carrying was actually beat in when I got it. This is almost as understable as my Patrol in the fairway option, so I get that big nice turn out of it, and that's been super helpful. And then this Maverick, this Lucid Maverick, thank you Matt Whitlock, has allowed me to throw like 75 to 80% in the woods and hit some of those lines that I just wasn't able to hit with the truth because of my shoulder. So I can control it, similar to that pink truth. I can put it in a little bit of hyzer and expect it to hold, or I can turn it and just expect it to keep that line the entire way. It's a very nice line shaper, which is a gap that I had in my bag with the injury. So next up is a forehand disc, and if you've watched me previously, you know that's a weird thing for me to say, and it actually got added really pretty recently, like last couple of weeks. I was debating whether I wanted to add the Explorer back in. I know this is a go-to for a lot of people, and maybe work out some of the escapes in my bag. And I threw it a few times backhand, and I do love the Explorer, but I have some overstable escapes, the Lucid-X that you're going to see, that really kind of cover that flight. But I've never been super comfortable forehanding the escape, and I happen to throw the Explorer's forehand, and you're going to get to see, you're seeing the orange one fly. This disc has been great for my forehand. It feels comfortable in my hand, it has a nice straight flight, it gives me a very similar feel to the Truth, only faster, nice clean line, and it has enough stability that reliably fades for me. So the Explorer is in there right now, for at least now as my forehand disc in the fairway section. I've been digging it, it's getting some good results. Next up is my favorite fairway, the Escape. I have 3 in there right now. This old Lucid is beat in. I actually gave it away. Somebody lost it and it got back to me and it was beat up, and it's been my roller ever since. Every once in a while I'll carry a high-speed roller, but generally I just carry this. I can get it almost as far as any of the high-speed rollers, and I can control it a little bit better. And it's also a good turnover disc for me, which you'll get to see it fly a little bit. This 167 pre-Sweden is another disc out of my brother's bag. This is just a beautiful disc to manipulate. I can put it on Annie, I can put it on hyzer, and it's just going to hold that line. So one of my favorite discs to throw, along with his Truth. It's probably my most thrown fairway. They're kind of security blanket discs. And then right now I have this Lucid-X Chameleon. This thing is beautiful. I'm trying to get it to color shift. I don't know if it will shift in the light. I threw it at Flip City after we had to put down Dutch. One of my 2 dogs passed a couple weeks ago now. It was kind of a therapy session, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this out just to throw it this round doesn't matter. I'm just going to have fun with it. And they throw really nice. Like I've had the Lucid-X in my bag for a while, and actually this is the one that's usually in my bag. Thank you to Timothy, I think it's Paddock. It was a Secret Santa last year. Beautiful thrower, and it'll probably be back in my bag soon. And this one's actually from Dean Schaub. But I put that one away just to throw this one because it's pretty, and I wanted to just have some fun. And the Chameleon actually has a little bit straighter flight than the Lucid-X, and I was just really enjoying it. So it's in there for right now. Hard to find if it gets in the weeds, but a beautiful flyer. Overstable Fairway. We've got a pair of Felons. We've got this 2018 Lucid-X that's actually pretty beat in for a Lucid-X, which helps. In this video, you're going to see me throwing a Glimmer-X, and it was just a little bit too overstable for me. So I put the beat-in version back, and that's, for my arm especially, it's just a little bit easier to throw. And then I have the Cap Shield Fuzion. This is a little bit straighter, a little bit longer. I can get a bigger sweeping hyzer out of it. So that's a nice complement to the more overstable Lucid-X. And I'm carrying two high-speed drivers right now. First is the Raider. This is a 166, and it's pretty understable last year. Now it's very straight to overstable for me. I will carry a heavier version in my bag. In fact, it's right here. Every once in a while, especially if it's windy, just to get a little more wind fighting out of it. But generally, I just don't need it with the speed of my arm right now. And the last is this Tournament Plastic Burst King. This is the disc that really helped me start to throw distance again. Now, I talked about losing some speed. Last year at the end of the year was throwing Raiders like 425, 430, pretty comfortably. I know that's not huge distance, but I was pretty happy with that. For me, that's really good. And this year, I found myself, I started measuring a new disc over and over again. I was getting like 375, 380 tops, and that was going all out. I just couldn't break that after I injured the shoulder, hurt those muscles. So I made that decision. Picked up a king, picked up a queen, picked up a captain, and just started trying to throw some flippier stuff. And the king was the most consistent flight for me. It was the one I was clicking with the best. And I could throw it on the hyzer flip and just have it flatten out and go laser straight, or I could give it a little bit less, and I was getting these big sweeping hyzers. And it took about 2 months, but this is the disc I finally broke 400 with again. And I have gotten a couple pretty good pulls out of it. It's pretty exciting to see that. And the Raider's starting to come back as well as my shoulder starts to heal and get stronger. But all that said, yeah, my shoulder may be getting stronger. I think I'm starting to throw a little bit harder again, but I'm not going to lose those understable discs. I had really minimized my molds previously, and if I ever get truths that are truly as flippy as a Patrol, I might go that route. But having those understable complements has been super helpful for me. I just don't have to throw them as hard. It's been a lot easier on my shoulder. Slowing down my run-up has been easier on my body in general. So I've become an advocate of, especially this year for me, of just slowing down, throwing some flippier plastic, and not stressing out as much. So that's my in the bag for this year. It's actually been kind of a fun trek finding these discs, because I've gotten to talk to some other people who are going through similar situations or who are looking at discs for similar reasons, and it's been good conversation. So if you have any questions or comments, as always, please put them below so I can get back to you. But that's my 2020 in the bag. Oh, that's right. Carrying a Commander usually. I also have Trooper, and actually have a backpack card as well, but usually the Commander for most rounds. So have a good night. Thanks for watching.